I'm just trying to live it heavenly in the unknown. God is with me everywhere. This place is where I call home. This place is where I call home. This place is where I call home. I'm thankful for the unknown. So thankful for the unknown.
And we're back. Yes, we're back with another episode. My goodness, it really is. We're kind of sinking in this now. I don't. You haven't been here. I don't know why I said that to you. Like you've been here, but honestly, it was just a real thought that I had. Was just like, my God, I've said that about 7 times now. Ale.
Hello.
If many people don't know you, you don't have to say like your real name. You know, we'll keep that.
It's okay. It's Maria Alejandra Mendez Piedrahita. Like a full Latin, full Colombian.
So what's crazy is where I grew up on 31st, it's called Little Mexico. Because it is nothing but Latino culture.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And all my friends were Hispanic growing up. And I used to be like, yo, bro, what's up? What's your name? And he'd be like, and they'd be like, oh,
you want me to say at full speed?
Yeah, please.
Maria Alejandra Mendez Piedrahita. That's the Colombian speed.
So how many names was that, though?
That's 2 names. First, middle, and my 2 last names. My mom and my dad's last name.
Oh, so is that common in culture?
Absolutely.
Interesting.
You get your father's first last name and your mom's last name. So when you get married, you lose your mom's last name and then your husband and then your dad's last name.
Oh, but you keep your dad.
Yeah.
That's so... Why is that?
Listen, I have no idea. I didn't even want to get married, so now that's all I know.
That's crazy. I actually never knew that for real. Well, if you don't know, this is Ale. I'm not even gonna try to do that. Ale, we brought you
Just say
here.
Maria. Just say the Maria.
I don't
rolling
know.
the R's.
I love Ale.
Okay.
Maybe randomly I'll say it throughout the episode. But I do love Ale. We brought you on here because we had a conversation. It was like our first like real in-depth conversation too at a friend's house, Sophie Taylor. Shout out Sophie.
Shout out to Sophie.
And we talked, and I came back to Alex, and we were actually looking for more females to come on the podcast because we didn't want to just be like, oh, male heavy, male dominant. And I immediately said Ale.
Yes.
Yes. And because our conversation, I walked away from it and was like, dang, that was like a really good conversation.
It was a good conversation. And
Go ahead.
like in that moment, I was so like, I feel that I was like so like eager just to know what to do. Because I was just in the middle of transition. And I was trying to figure out my brain in that moment. And like that conversation just brought me so much peace, just knowing that you were at so much peace in that moment.
Wow. Yeah.
And
give the people a little backstory, so we're not leaving them.
Not leaving them
out of the loop.
Backstory.
You looked at the camera too. People don't do that a lot.
Hey, I'm a natural. I'm kidding. Yes. So I moved to Tulsa 3 years ago. Actually, today 3 years ago. That's crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow.
So 3 years ago, I moved to Tulsa, and I moved for the internship at Transformation Church. Shout out to TC. We love TC. And it's crazy because just thinking and reflecting in those past 3 years have been like the best and the worst years of my life, which is crazy because I feel that it was like a uprooting, a growing, killing, and like dying to myself just to become who I am right now, which is crazy because before that I kind of knew who I was, but now I'm like really know who I am, right? So back in actually this year, I started feeling transition. Like I did the internship, got hired at TC, worked for a year at TC, and I was just feeling like transition was happening. And I just didn't know how, I didn't know when, I didn't know what was happening. And I remember I moved offices, and Holy Spirit told me when I was getting settled in my office, he was like, don't get too comfortable here. It's momentary.
Wow.
And in that moment I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Did
like,
you think it meant no, like leaving TC, or did you just think?
no,
like,
I just didn't know. Like, I know that I
Yeah.
was feeling transition in me,
Yeah.
but I didn't know. Like, I was like, okay, maybe there's like a new position. Maybe I'm just gonna move
Yeah,
around,
yeah.
like
Right.
something. But just didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was kind of talking with a guy, and he's an entrepreneur, and like he just had like he didn't have like your regular 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And I just started kind of dreaming, like, man, like I never wanted to be in a 9 to 5. So I wonder, like, if I didn't have like a 9 to 5, I could spend more time with him, and that'd be
Right.
super cool and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But I just kind of let it go, and I was like, well, yeah, just a thought.
Yeah.
A couple days later, I was spending time with the Lord, and He just gave me like a whole business plan, and like super like,
Wow.
okay, this is what you're dreaming for, like that's what you've been dreaming and doing, and all these things. I was like,
Yeah.
man, this is so cool. Like I just got inspired in just little things, right?
Yeah.
And I just started doing a retreat that is called Shine, which is
Yeah.
like something like the vision that the Lord just kind of put in my mind, in my
Yeah,
heart. And at the time, I was just kind of just planning it, and it's crazy because when like this was October. Yeah, it was October. Like the Holy Spirit was like on June, July, and like this whole inspiration was kind of September.
Yeah,
So it was
yeah.
just like that's kind of like the rough timeline.
Yeah.
And when they called the staff, did the whole meeting. Hey, we're doing like a transition. If you want to take
Yeah.
like, I don't know, can we say that?
Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
whole thing? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
So anyways,
go ahead,
there's
go
like a restructure of the company.
yeah.
So like we're going to give you like a severance payment for 3 months because we're
Yeah, yeah.
generous and like we just want to impulse you into your next and stuff.
Yeah.
In that moment, like I just started literally my heart was just like pounding so hard.
Wow.
They gave like 4 different things. What was it? Disconnected, disengaged, disappointment, or like just disobedience.
Yeah.
When they said disconnected and disobedience, my heart just pounding. I was like, oh my God, like a big change. Like I was in that moment, I was like, I know this is my time to go. Like
Yeah.
I just knew it.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because I just started crying, and I didn't know that I was crying. It's like my eyes were literally just like sweating. And I was like, what is happening? Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I was going to go and talk with Pastor Bree, and Pastor Mike literally just intercepted me, and he was like, so how you feel? I'm like, I think that this is for me. I'm like, no, what is happening?
Wow.
He was like, okay, be obedient, like da. And I just started telling him about the retreat that I was doing, which happened to be 24 hours after that meeting, which
Wow.
was the same amount of time that they gave us to give the notice of resignation.
Wow.
So he was like, you know what one more confirmation do you need than just like your next is starting when your current is finishing, you know?
Yeah.
So that was just like the blessing in that moment. And so the 2 weeks happened, the retreat happened, it was my birthday, like there was like so many things just happening in that weekend that I couldn't process it at all.
Yeah.
And this was Christmas when we had this conversation.
Yeah.
And that's when it was like the first month that I'm just out of this transition. And I just got back from Costa Rica from like just having fun with my friend and like just processing of this whole 6 months that had happened. Like a lot has happened. And I'm just in this moment, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I have this big vision. I have like all these ideas, but I need to rest. And like, I don't know how to rest.
Yeah.
I don't know how to be still. Like I have always worked. Like I have always been like in this, like going. And like, what I'm supposed to do now? Like, I feel unproductive. I feel like I'm not doing much. Yeah.
That I remember that conversation, and I remember you talking, and I immediately thought, oh my God, like I remember going through that exact same thing, because you come out of a season where it was comfortable, where it was kind of like my 9 to 5.
You're just in this routine.
Like a routine is a great word, and to get out of it, it almost feels like, for me, it was like that first week of not having a job was kind of like, bet, like, ain't gotta wake up. What was you doing on your first week?
So my first week was like the week before Thanksgiving. So my last day was on a Wednesday, and then was Thursday. So it was just like a one day, and then Thanksgiving week happened. So it's like, oh, it's just a long weekend. Oh, it's just Christmas. It's just Thanksgiving. It's just Christmas. So it's like it never hit. It never hit. And then I went to Costa Rica. Then I came back, and it was like just all the Christmas break, and I went back to Colombia. So this is literally the first week that I have had that I'm like, wait, I don't have a job. I don't
have anything to
like
do.
Literally this week.
Wow. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, me neither. Like, just kind of,
That's
I just
crazy.
kind of processed it.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay. So, what was it like waking up today?
Today?
Yeah. And being like, dang, I don't have anything else to do again. Because for me, I was like, the first day was kind of like, all right, that's cool. I ain't got nothing to do.
Yeah.
The second day, all right, bet. Third day was kind of like, all right, what am I going to do?
So, it's funny because it's like, all of this is transition, literally, like transition. Like I need to get out of my apartment in 2 weeks. Yeah. So at this point, it's like I am just enjoying my apartment for the next 2 weeks that I have in my apartment. Yes. Yeah. Like I said, like after that conversation, like everything settled. Yeah. And I went back home. Yeah. You know what? Actually, I remember.
Here we go.
When I came back from Costa Rica, that was like 1 week before going home. Yeah. Like the 1 week that I have here, and just coming back from this whole like season of like just doing all these things. Yeah. I remember I came back, and I got a text from my sister saying like, "Hey, Dad is like super super excited about Christmas. You should come." And it just everything hit. It's like, what if I don't have money to just go back home? Like, what if I don't have all these things and like I'm not working? Like, I need to make all of these decisions. Like my apartment, my lease is about to be up, and I just started crying and crying and crying and crying and crying and crying. I'm like, I felt paralyzed. Wow. Like by fear and by like decisions and emotions, and like I couldn't stop crying. Yeah. And I remember I called my friend Michaela, and I was like, I don't know what to do, and like I don't know what is happening, and like. Coming from a season of like healing in my heart, from feeling a burden to like since I was a kid, and just healing trauma and all of these things, and just calling people to literally be like, hey, like this is what I'm going through, and I keep like calling you about these things. And she told me, I told her, I'm so sorry, I feel like a broken record about this. And she told me, Ale, even if you're a broken record, it's something that I will play over and over again. And like, and like that, that just settled my soul in so many ways.
I might have actually kept crying.
Like,
did you cry when she said that?
I was crying before. No, like that comforted me in so many ways. Yeah. Because from feeling like a burden or like that, I can't tell you what I'm going through in so many ways to so many people, because I grew up like that, there was like a healing season before this season, but anyways, but just kind of realizing that I don't rely on so many people because I have felt like a burden to so many, or like not even that it made me feel like a burden, but I just internalized that for somebody to heal me with those words. Like it was just a moment of like vulnerability that I took that chance. Right. And someone just healed me like that. In that moment of like, I have no idea what is going to happen with my life. So it was like one of those comfort conversations, just like your comfort, like the conversation that we got. You know, so it was like that comfort of like, everything's going to be fine. Yeah. You can process with me. Yeah.
That is, I honestly thought this was going to go a different way, but I do, before you got here, before James got here, I literally asked, as much as I wanted to talk about transition, I honestly felt like God was going to take us a completely different way. And
Look at him. He will do that.
Yeah, literally. And I think we're going to get to transition. But one thing we do on this podcast is talk about real things. Yeah. And I heard something in there. What you said was you felt like a burden. Mm-hmm. And I know that feeling because it's a real feeling. It's so one, I want to start off by validating that feeling, because it comes from a real place. It comes from a place of, I don't want to put any extra pressure on you because I care about you. Yeah. One real thing that I have had to say to honestly multiple people is you don't gain anything by holding on to things that you're not meant to carry alone.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not that you're not meant to carry them. It's just you're not meant to carry them alone. And one thing that we talk about all the time in the Christian world is God comes and finds you at your weakest. Think about the conversation that you had when you finally were able to admit, okay, it doesn't even matter if I feel like a burden. What I'm holding is a little too hard.
Mm-hmm.
And she responded how God essentially would respond and say, no, actually, I want this. I want to do this over and over and over again. And I wanted to just sit here for a moment because it is a real thing that I think keeps people, one, from healing, but then also it keeps people from community.
Yeah. Because
you think that you don't have enough to even get you there.
Yeah.
But then, oh my God, don't ask me to start talking to nobody about what I'm going through. Because they're strangers. They start off always as strangers.
Yeah.
Like James in the room. We talked about it earlier before we even started filming. Strangers are, honestly, that's the real thing too, I believe too, is strangers are the perfect people to help you.
Yeah.
Because if they have a great heart, they're going to do what we want, essentially. And not from a manipulative standpoint, but from a standpoint of really helping and aiding. And I love the fact that you were transparent with her, because if you weren't transparent with her, whoever knows the type of things that you unlocked, whoever knows the type of things that got healed in that moment.
Yeah.
So thank you for being transparent. That is like one thing that we always say is make sure transparency is key.
Yeah.
Because it unlocks a lot when you're transparent, especially with the things that you don't want to be transparent about. So yes, I just wanted to commend you on that, because I know what it takes to put real emotion to the side and say, hey, I'm actually hurting.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to do.
Which is crazy, because like even before the transition, like this past 6 months have been like that place where like I literally, like, it's just crazy. I just feel that I was numb for such a long time, right? I was so numb for such a long time. And I remember I was in my bed. I was like, this is just like a memorable moment in my life, right? This past 6 months. I remember being in my bed like, Lord, what am I feeling so much? Why?
Yeah.
And he was like, because you were numb. And I was like,
oh my
I don't
God.
like it anymore. Like, I'm feeling too much. And he said, yeah, Ale, like, you've been in survival mode for the past 10 years. Let me take care of you.
Wow.
And like, I'm never going to remember that, because like 6 months ago, I was not in that place.
Yeah.
And everything started with that a small group that I created. Just like, and we were playing We're Not Really Strangers.
Yeah. Oh
and they just
God.
all confronted me, because they said like, Ale, you're always this strong person for everybody, but we don't know nothing about you.
That's so good.
And I was like, yeah, you know about me. I'm so vulnerable. I'm so open. I'm an open book.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, they just broke me a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I met a guy, and I feel that was like the entry for God to literally just make a cut in me.
That's so good.
And just bring out all the, like, rejection, abandonment, burden, like all these things that I just didn't know they were there.
Yeah.
And it was like a catalyst for me to just get to this place of vulnerability, of me being like, you know what, I can actually ask for help and just be vulnerable enough to say like, I'm hurting, like I do need people.
That's so good.
And like, I can't do it alone.
Yeah.
I kept doing things on my own because I had this fort around me that everything is perfect and I can do it everything, because my background too,
right,
Latin, we don't talk about feelings, emotions. My mom is a single woman. I like, she kicked me out of home, then I was taking care of my brother and sister, even if she was taking care of them.
Jesus.
And
Let's
like,
get into it. Oh my God.
like I wanted to protect everybody around me. And then I didn't grow up in the church, but then when I was in Houston before coming here, I become this leader at the church, and like I was the woman that everybody went to. Like I was also the connector for everybody. Like everybody just knew me, so I just needed to be like this is strong for everybody, and I couldn't break down.
Yeah. Oh, we're finna get into it.
And I didn't even know that I was not breaking down. And just like, I'm just gonna be this person. And that's what I'm telling you. When I moved here, like all of those like walls just start breaking. Like the past 3 years in Tulsa had been like a breaking of the person that I thought I was.
Yeah.
To become the person that I am.
Right.
And just break the mold and break like.
Yeah. That is, my gosh. I heard a lot in there. I want to talk about, have you talk about a little bit more, because it all feeds into what we're going to end on.
Great.
It all feeds into talk about growing up, and in like that though, talk about growing up, not really sharing feelings, kind of just straight face. If I'm feeling something, I'm not really going to talk about it because I got to be this person for my family. Talk about that. Talk about how, just bring us into that life.
Yeah, sure. Great.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So I did not grow up in a Christian household.
Mm-hmm.
We were Catholic. So I grew up in Colombia, born and raised in Colombia. And I moved to the state when I was 20, right?
Lit.
So when I moved here, well, I grew up with my dad, basically, because my mom left when I was 9. So all my teenage years was with my dad. I'm a daddy's girl, love my dad.
Yeah.
And when I moved here, my mom kicked me out of home like after a year of being with her because we didn't get along. And it's funny because like I guess like I never realized like we don't talk about feelings much until actually this past 3 months.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like I just like the healing that I had this past 6 months brought me to this place the last 2 months, like the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. Wow.
To be like, man, like how people is gonna know how we feel, like people, aka my family, know how we feel if we never communicate, if we just keep holding on to all these things. Yeah. And literally this happened like 2 weeks ago. I was talking with my sister, my oldest sister. We're like 15 years apart. Yeah. And the version of my dad, she never got, because she got that, she got my young dad, right? Yeah. And we were all together for Christmas, for New Year's, and I think like that's the most amount of time that we have spent together. It was this transition that the Lord knew that I needed to take this time and be with my family. Yeah. And my dad and my sister had always had like this like back to back all the time. It's like we don't know what is happening, but they're just always fighting. Right. And my dad was doing his mad face all the time. My sister was crazy. And like, oh my God, like she was ready to give up. She was like, I'm done. I'm going to leave. Like, I'm going to get a plane ticket and just leave this house. Blah, 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 blah. And like, she was just pouring out like all these things that she was feeling. And like, just like, I feel rejected. And I feel that they don't like me. And they don't love me. All this stuff. And I literally told her like, how they going to know, how dad is going to know how you feel if you have never said anything to him. Yeah. Like, you have like you keep telling everybody, but you have never told him how you really feel. And she was like, I will never do this, I'm never gonna say this, la, 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 la. I'm like, oh, I'm just okay. I'm telling you what helped me to just kind of figure it out. Okay, cool. That night, literally, I'm praying for breakthrough, and I'm like, Lord, you're doing something. Like, I have no idea what you're doing. That night, my dad says something with his mad face and super passive aggressive, and my sister just goes nuts. She's like, I'm leaving, blah 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 blah. And my nephew and I were like, okay, just calm down, you're not gonna leave. I'm gonna call dad and I'm gonna tell him all how I feel, blah 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 blah. Just don't worry about it, just calm down, just wait for tomorrow. No, I'm gonna call him now. She calls my dad and she's like, I don't know if you even like me, I don't know if you want to be here, like la 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 la. And my dad was like, I'm just always mad because you're mad at me. So I just kept telling her, like, you guys build this front in front of you guys to protect yourself, and you keep putting this boundary and this wall in front of you instead of doing a fort to like cover you.
Yeah.
And you both have this like wall
Wow.
that no one wants to break, and someone needs to break it in order to do a fort.
Right.
And in that moment, like, I feel that they just came to an agreement of like, man, like, you are mad at me because you are mad at me. And we've always been like mad at each other.
Yeah.
So like after that, like, just the whole environment and like dynamics change. Like, she even made more self-aware of like, oh yeah, I'm doing like this crazy face, and my dad is like, oh, I'm doing this mad face, and like, so I don't know, it's crazy. I like growing up, I never realized how much we didn't, and now it's like, man, like, this is the way that is supposed to be done.
Yeah. That is beautiful. Wow. We're gonna sit right here on this family thing for a moment. Because what you just described is what all families go through. I went through it with my family. I'm pretty sure everybody in this room has went through it with their family.
Which is crazy because I'm far away from my family most of the time. So just the fact that I was able to do this when I was back home in my transition is crazy.
That's literally where I was about to go, is the fact that God would bring you here for 3 years, and before he gives you your next, he sends you back to the place that made you. And not just send you back to see like, oh, is she gonna do good in this environment? But I'm gonna actually send you back to change the entire environment.
That's crazy.
That is what I want to make it very clear. If you don't know this, that is what a generational curse breaker is. That is the thing that, because you could have easily went back to Costa Rica or
Colombia.
Colombia. I don't know why.
Colombia.
Oh, you've been to Costa Rica. You went to Costa Rica. Sorry.
We had a Costa Rican vacation and it was great, and we love Costa Rica.
I've never been to Costa Rica. That's for a
you
different
need
topic.
to go. It's
My parents
so
have been
beautiful.
like 3 times and never take me.
Oh,
What's going on?
extra recorders. You need to take them.
Bruh, literally.
Yeah, take them.
You need a passport for Costa Rica? Maybe that's why. Yeah, I don't have a passport. Don't do it. Don't do it. I know.
Ooh.
I know.
Micaiah, please.
But yes, generational curse breaker. People would be on me about my passport. A generational curse breaker, it does that.
Yeah.
And I want to stop. I want to stop here again, because it's like, if you would have went back and not used the tools and not used the things that you have learned, you wouldn't have done. It would have been almost like you got 3 years of training and I'm gonna send you back and you didn't do nothing. So I want to commend you again.
Thank you.
Because
Man, thank you so much.
Because it's like, I know what that feels like, to go into an environment and see everything you used to be. That's the real thing. You see your past, and it's kind of like,
Oh my gosh.
you have a split-second decision to say, do I want to kind of just not really, especially with the whole, and correct me here if I'm wrong, especially if the religion part looks different too still.
Absolutely.
So it's a completely different, they don't even
They're not even Christian. Like my dad is a Christian, but it's like, he's not the one who prays. Like, I remember, like, we were on a walk in the morning.
Yeah.
And I was like, Dad, let's pray together. Like, he
Yeah.
goes to church and like he's a believer and stuff, but he's not like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And he was like, you pray. I just don't know how. I'm like, that is just easy. It's just like, you're just talking. It's like, you just do it.
Yeah.
So it's like, and my sister, he's like, yeah, I believe in God and do this and this and this and that, but
that is, honestly, I keep feeling that it's generational curse breaker, because you've even now shown that there are people that have been trying to do the God thing, but maybe they pick and choose what parts they want to listen to, or pick and choose what parts they want to do. But the fact that you are the one in your family that says, not only am I gonna say that God is the God of my life or the Savior of my life, but he's also the Lord of my life. He leads me in every area. That is like you should count that as a W in your book, because that is, you're doing something no one in the history of your family lineage has done.
which is crazy because like so many times I have like not even question but just wonder like, why me?
Yeah.
Like, why am I even here? Like,
Right.
like yesterday we were talking about miracle signs and wonder, and I was like, it's just a miracle that I'm here.
Yeah.
Like, not just here in Tulsa, but it's just like in the States. Like, it was never my dream to come to America.
Yeah.
It was never my dream to just like. In high school, I was the worst at English. Like, I was in like the lowest levels. Like, I never believed like I would be fluent in English.
Yeah.
Like, when I moved here, I was like super self conscious about my English. I wouldn't talk, but out of survival, like I just started like talking and stuff like that. And it's just literally a miracle that I am here.
Yeah.
I was not gonna get deported. Like, that's a whole no. That was not gonna get deported. Like, I extended my green card for such a long time that like the last time when I was actually moving here, they were like, "Why you been out for such a long time?" Because I was living in Colombia for such a long time, and they were like, "If you leave for more than 3 months at a time, this time we're gonna get you a fee of I don't know how many dollars." I was like,
I know the fee is large.
Yeah. And I was like, oh no, I'm actually moving here. Don't worry about it. So it's like, it's just literally like a miracle that I'm here.
Yeah.
And just the fact that it's just like healing my generation. And I like literally, I'm just like, why me, Lord? Like, you couldn't pick anybody in Colombia. There's so many people in Colombia. But you decide to bring me here. To Houston to build this and and then just break it off and just break all of these things, and now here in Tulsa, and now you're giving me all of these dreams and things that I can like literally impact so many people by just being obedient.
Right. There are many people in Colombia. There are no Ales. That is, we always ask, like a basketball player, Russ, he was in an interview one time, and he was, because his slogan is "Why not?" And you said "Why me?" And honestly, I wanted to just say "Why not you?" though. And one thing that also that I feel for you is, you said healing. You said the healing for your sister came when she talked. And people say closed mouths don't get fed. I would go one further and say closed mouths don't get healing either.
Yeah.
Because the only way that we can ask God to come in when we are weak is we have to say that. So if you never say that, if you never use the gift that God has given you, which is speech, to say, hey, I'm feeling like this, not always to him, but to your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, then you don't get healing. Because we ask God, hey, God, come heal me.
Yeah.
And we think, oh, okay, great, God heal me. But then we look at people and it's kind of like, ugh, like I'm not gonna say nothing. But it's like, why not talk? Like, why the person that we can't see, we'll talk to, but the people we do see, we won't talk to.
I think it's something like, even like, okay, Pastor Mike says this all the time. It's like, God cannot heal what you don't reveal, right? And I think it's the same thing with people. Like, if you, if I hurt you, and you never tell me that that you hurt me, how you gonna know? Literally, how you gonna know? How you gonna know to make it up if you never like tell me or told, like, how? And it's funny because even like before going to Colombia, it's dying to your pride. And it's killing your pride. Before going to Colombia, I was just really emotional. I was going through, like I said, like, it's like a heartbreak without being a heartbreak. It's just crazy. And like, I just felt that I needed to tell this person how much like it hurt. Because I've been acting like this didn't hurt, like this is it's fine, la 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 la. And I started crafting this text, and it was like this long text. I was like, no, what I wanted to communicate, what I really wanted to communicate. And it's like, you really hurt me. I appreciate you, but please don't do it. Like, in the future, just don't do these things because of the way that you acted. La, 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 can cause a lot of damage. And I remember when I was about to send this text, I was in my knees, literally in my knees, being like, I don't want to send this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
I literally had to send a text saying like, my strong independent woman is terrified of just saying this.
Yeah.
But I have to, so because I'm never gonna heal what I don't reveal, and I just need to stop rehearsing it and just say it, and just no, stop rehearsing it and just release it. And I cannot tell you, when I was in my knees, just saying like, Lord, I don't want to send this, I don't want to send this, I don't want to send this.
Yeah.
The one thing that the Lord keeps saying is, be strong and courageous. Don't be afraid.
That's so good. That's so good. Yeah.
And it killed my pride in so many ways.
Yeah.
But it might have restored a relationship.
Yes. That and that's the thing that I think that we should focus on.
But it's not holding you neither. The pain is not holding you anymore. And I think that's the beauty. It's not holding you anymore.
Yes. You said that you were having a hard time like sending the message. And one that is the flesh, the humanity of you saying, I don't want to be vulnerable. I
Correct.
don't want to show my wounds. I don't want to show I'm broken. What the picture I got in my head was, imagine going to the doctor and you have like a wound and saying, hey, I actually just got shot, but
let me not.
Don't touch it. I just wanted to tell you.
I'm gonna keep it just right here, but I'm here.
And that's what we do in that time is say, I actually know I'm shot. I actually know I'm hurting, but I'm just gonna say it's actually just a cut when it's a whole wound for real. But when you say it's a wound, you invite someone in, coupled with another person, and they are able to fix that. Like, imagine what I can only imagine what it did for you admitting, hey, I'm actually feeling like this, especially since it hit home for you. Yeah. Especially since it was like one of those things that it was kind of like, hey, Ale, don't you do this one.
Do it.
Don't you do this one.
Do it.
But those are the things, those are the times where speaking up matters most. Because not only are you inviting that person in, you're inviting God in.
Yeah.
You're inviting God to come alongside with that person. Yeah. And say, hey, Ale, I actually thank you for telling me. I actually won't do that again because I did do it out of blah, 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 blah,
yeah.
blah, 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 blah. Yeah. But if we never talk, we never get the thing.
We never.
That could help our healing.
Correct. But it's like you're holding yourself hostage as well.
That's so good.
Because and you're hurt. You keep like rehearsing these things and these scenarios in your head of like what could have done better, why he could have been done better, like what could have done better, like like all these scenarios. Like, but when you release it, it's like, you know what? Like I said it, and God, take care of it. Control. Like I release the control of this. Yeah. And you just set yourself free. Yeah. And it's not something that you're holding anymore.
Yeah. I did a teaching tent for the interns, was that last year? And I was doing my teaching tent, and the whole gist of the teaching tent was you can never get what God wants for you if you're always trying to keep what he already knows you have. And my demonstration was I was picking up everyone's backpacks, and Aaron was outside knocking on the door. And she was symbolizing God because they said God knocks on the door. He's a patient God. Yeah. But while he was knocking, I was just picking up people's bags, still talking to the people, living everyday life, essentially. But then when it was time for me to pick up the thing that God had and talk to God, I had no more room because I had picked up everything. And instead of saying, here, God, let's swap, I was trying to take the thing that God wants and put it on top of the other thing. And God's like, hey, actually, if we just do a quick exchange, you have more room. You have more. The healing comes. Yeah. And that truly is what being vulnerable, transparent, and authentic does. Yeah. Is it says, hey, God, what I have, I actually want you to take because what you have, I actually need. Yeah. And I think when people honestly realize that, it'll do something for them because it'll say everything that you're dealing with, everything that you're feeling, good and bad, is okay. Yeah. But you were not meant to carry this.
Correct.
And we weren't. Yeah. And I think when we realize that we aren't as strong as we think we are, that would shift so many perspectives.
Yeah.
Because we think we are walking around here godlike almost.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I can deal with this. I can deal with this. Oh, no, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
What Mike be saying? Oh, no, I'm blessed and highly favored. It's like, no, buddy, you actually struggling, and I can actually see that.
But you can stop pretending.
Yes.
And I think that's what it is. You just stop pretending.
Yeah.
Like, you can go back to your natural self.
Yeah.
Be like, you know what? I actually release it and I can be normal to you again.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, oh, I'm just going to run away because, like, I don't know how you're going to act. You just start pretending like, oh, I'm good. Yeah, let's, whatever. And then go back home and you feel like, man, that was so awful and rehearsed. Like, you just stop pretending to be this person or to feel this way.
Right.
And you are released to just be who you are.
Yes. One thing that I love about, I'm like just going to take it the Bible route real quick. One thing I love about Jesus is, and not only Jesus, but the people that are around him, the disciples specifically, is they were always real with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, what's crazy is, like, honestly, I only can think about Judas in this moment, and it's such a crazy topic. But
we love Judas.
But we do love Judas. Honestly, I'm being completely honest. Even though he kind of played our boy,
he did what I needed to do.
Yeah, I understand, my boy. But I love Judas because he was real. Mm-hmm. Judas didn't get called out. Was kind of like, hey, bro, I don't know what you talking about, God. I don't know what, bro. I would not do nothing to you. Mm-hmm. He was like,
oh, that's me. Let me take care of business.
And we would think, let me actually hide, and this is actually saving me. God actually saw that, and the next thing he did was get down and wash his feet. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But we think God is going to say, no, Judas, you, oh my God. We think,
sorry.
Honestly, what's crazy is, and this is like a very real, it hit me when I actually thought about it like this, is we think our heavenly father is like our earthly father. He's going to treat us like our earthly father. Mm. He's not.
He's not.
He thinks when we come with the truth that he's going to give, there will be consequence, there will be discipline, but it won't be, hey, I'm actually going to take you to this bathroom and give you a whooping. It's like, hey, I actually am glad that you said this. Mm-hmm. I'm actually glad that you've done this. I'm actually glad. And here's how we're going to move along. Like, here's how we're going to do this now. But we're so afraid to even bring the truth to God like he doesn't already know.
Can I tell you? So when I was back home, when I wasn't back in Colombia. Yeah. I had one of the purest moments with my dad too. Just like you were saying that. Mm-hmm. I was just overwhelmed. Yeah. I again, going back to the transition, when I'm coming back, I don't know where I'm gonna live. I have 2 weeks after I come back. Like, I need to figure all these things out. Mm-hmm. And I just feeling overwhelmed, and I went and hide, right? So I said, okay, I'm just gonna go to the beach. Like, he lived like near the ocean. That's one of the words that I can't say, so that's what I said it like so insecure. So I was
like, why she got so quiet? Hey, don't be talking about
that's what it is. Okay,
keep her name out of the comments.
Near the ocean.
Yeah.
So I grabbed my journal and I grabbed my Bible, right? And I just started journaling. I'm a big journaler. I just journal. Yeah. And I just started crying. Wow. And I was like, God, like, I don't know what is happening. Like, I'm so overwhelmed. Like, I just don't know what is happening. And I'm sitting in this like little porch with a chair and stuff, and I see from the distance my dad coming. Like, and I was like, oh my God, like, I'm crying. Like, I don't cry in front of my dad. Like, again, I'm not showing emotion. I'm not showing all of these things. Like, the last time that I cry in front of him was like, ay, esa lágrima de cocodrilo, like like those little tears. Like, because I feel. It's fine, I'm feeling. And it's just funny because, like, even just crying in front of him, like, just kind of shift something in him too, which is crazy. But anyways, I'm journaling. I'm trying to hide my tears. Like, oh my gosh, like, don't see me. And he's just walking so like peacefully, just walking like towards me. Almost. Literally, I'm like, what is this? So I'm just trying to like, and he just sits down right next to me and like, so what's happening? I'm like, just chilling and just like, And anyways, I end up opening up to him like about what was happening, like how overwhelmed I was, and like you were saying, like he just encouraged me, and so many ways. He's like,
Yeah.
Ale, just don't give up in your dreams. Like, just keep fighting. I will support you.
That's
Like,
so
I can help you in this and this and this and this way, and
Yeah.
this and when you put it like that, it's like that's how we do, like with God and with people. Like we just try to hide every single emotion. We just try to hide when we're overwhelmed. We try to hide like all of these things when like it's a conversation away. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know my dad was following me,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
to like just to be with
Wow.
me.
Yeah.
You know, like when I see him like from the distance, like in me trying to hide is like, and that was just a moment too. Like, man, like I can trust my dad and just sit down with my dad.
Yeah. God will also reframe and almost, because life distorts what I've learned for me, life distorts the images of people around us. And God is the only one that can restore those images.
Completely.
And so the fact that you and your relationship with God has been crazy these last 6 months and you've gotten on a completely different level with him, it's only fitting for your dad to walk up to you and God be like, I'm about to restore what this image should look
Which
like.
is just crazy. You know what? Because it was not just about me. Because in that conversation, I was able to talk about the relationship with him and my sister.
Wow.
Of like just giving him my perspective of the conversation that I had with my sister.
Yeah.
Because we had a big old argument with my sister, and I never been this mad in my life.
Wow.
I was shaking and stuff, but like the Lord just gave me this perspective of like, you need to talk with your dad about it.
Wow.
And just and saying like you were a bad dad. No. I literally said like, she's never had the dad that I had. I'm just gonna give you this information, and whatever you need to do with this information, just do it.
Yeah.
That just brought restoration to his view, to my sister's view, and to my whole family. Like, in talking about generational curses as well. It's like, man, like, I just needed to talk and sit down and just be in his presence.
Yeah. That right there is one of the most, I think, key things to this life. Is if you just sit with God, he will show you everything that he needs to show you.
Yeah.
But you have to sit with him first.
Yeah.
You have to acknowledge him, and you have to be real with him.
Yes.
Because also Mike also says, and it was in another episode someone said, is God will never bless who you pretend to be. He will bless who you are.
You need to stop pretending. We need to start pretending. Stop pretending that you're good.
Thank you.
Stop pretending. We're not good, and we're good, but we're not good, okay? Stop pretending.
And it's okay that you're not good.
Yes.
Though. That's what I think people have told us our entire life, whether that be father, mother, teacher, friend, if you're not good, something must be wrong with you. And it's just like, no, I can feel sad. I can be hurt.
There's such a big range of emotions, like from sad to angry to all of this, and there's so many little emotions under those emotions, and it's okay. Therapia, counseling, consejería, psicólogo, like
everything she's saying. Because I don't know what she said, but I think it's
psychology. Therapy. Like, it's so important. Like,
it's necessary.
It's necessary.
I literally, what's crazy is I came back to the crib last night after recording and got a call from a family member and was on the phone with them till 3 in the morning. 3 something like that.
Oh my goodness.
And we were talking and I was asking them, they were telling me about some things that were happening. And I said, "Are you in therapy?" And I would never have said that. And they said, "No, why would I go to therapy?" And I thought, the fact that you even said that, buddy, should let you know you should be in therapy. Because therapy, what many people think is therapy. I believe people think that they have to pick either therapy or theology.
No.
But you can clearly see
both.
There is therapy in the Bible.
Yeah.
And then there's theology. Therapy for me in the Bible is when Peter was stepping off the boat and he was walking towards Jesus and Jesus was like, hey, don't look down. Look at me. He was walking. A therapist says, hey, everything that's going on around, what the world says is crazy, it's just me and you here.
Yeah.
That is therapy.
Yeah.
When I was trying to think of another. Honestly, I was about to go to a whole different story of the Bible, but I'm not.
Okay,
I'll
don't
save
do
it.
it.
I'll save it.
Okay, don't do it.
But it's therapy is so real because therapy is just another form of healing.
Absolutely. It's just literally, it's either therapy or just having people like really well sounding in your circle too, right? But also it's like going to therapy is just going and talk to somebody without any shame, without any guilt, with any like let me just bleh, this on you and help me to process, help me to reframe my mind and my thoughts so I can be a better version or anything of what is happening right now. And then you just leave therapy with a new perspective of like, oh, I can do this, or man, that I it's like a step. It's like taking steps towards a better you.
Yeah. That is so real. You said it. It's just taking a step to getting better. And I think people put pressure on themselves to get better.
Yeah.
Like, I need to be better by this. And what's crazy is not only people, the church.
Us.
We talked about it on me and Will's episode about how the church does a bad job of dealing with things like that. And I truly believe that. I'm truly a believer in the church is the quickest thing. What we say, what I feel like church people will say is, hey, Jesus is for everybody. But then as soon as a drug dealer, a LGBTQ comes in, it's kind of like,
oh, really?
what you doing in here?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, you can't say Jesus is for everybody, that anybody can heal, this is a place for all. But then when someone tries to come and enjoy and try to get healed, we not make space for them.
Correct.
Because not a lot of people, because I do believe while we are talking about therapy, I also believe there's a real place where the church does, many people can get healed from the church and might not want to go to therapy.
Correct.
Because they feel like, and that's okay too. Like it's however you want to do it, I do it.
Yeah.
I believe both are needed. But if you want to focus on one for right now, focus on that one. Yep. Whatever you need. It is your own journey. Do not let me, do not let Ale, do not let anybody in your circle say it has to be done this way. Because that is not true.
Then we're in individual journeys.
My journey, she wasn't no drug addict.
No.
She wasn't selling drugs, but we have arrived to the same place because we decided to say, hey, God, I'm hurting, and I will go to God, and I will go through my counselor. Yes. And that is very real. I mean, it looks different for everyone.
And no, even just to heal, like it's just crazy because like even in this transition, right? Like just having like this big vision in my head and not knowing where to start. Yeah. And just having someone to tell you it's not that complicated. Yeah. Like when I'm just literally verbally processing like, and this is what I'm trying to do. And like when everything looks so complicated in my head, someone telling you like, you can do this and this and this and this and that. And now it's like, wait a second. It's not as complicated as I thought it was. Yeah. And it's like, the healing is important. Like, like the restoration is important and the process is important, but also just having like new perspective is important. Like someone that just takes away like the blinders in your head and gives you like, oh, wait a second. Yes. I can see clear now. I can see like the that rain path. Is gone. I can see it now.
I don't know why that song just popped into my head.
It's clarity. Oh, okay. Well, that's clear now.
Clarity. You said clarity. God said, here you go. Here go your clarity.
There you go. But it's just like giving you like a new path for you to walk.
That's so good.
Which is the same that Jesus did for us. It's like a new path for us to just make it right and just be close to the Father and just be near God and He sent the Holy Spirit to be our guide and our counselor and like
that's so good.
We just like He's our counselor.
We negate and I've done it and I am here to say I've negated all the things that the Trinity could do.
Oh,
I am. That is there. I was telling Aaron the other day is my 2024 goal is to notice all the things that the Trinity are supposed to do, but then also make sure I abide by what the Trinity is supposed to do, because they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
And on the topic of transition, we're back here again, and we know your Hey, wait, hold on, pause. Ale, we've been taking Ale through this like cultural African American kind of quick course, and I think you saw a little bit of it try to sneak out right there. And I just have to
listen.
commend
I have
Ale.
Afro American in me, okay.
And I believe
listen.
it. She be dapping me up now, and I'd be like, "What up, my boy?" Yeah.
It's the Colombian in me, okay. I do have African in me.
That is true. That is
okay.
that is very true, and I respect it, and I see it, and I validate it,
It's in me. Thanks. My 23 and me does too.
Yeah, we validate 8% that you're talking about. I validate.
Actually,
that. How much is it?
It's like a 20-something%.
Oh, so you?
I'm gonna show it to you. Like,
she's a nigga.
It's in me. In Colombia, we'll call it mulata. Okay.
Yeah. Wait. Okay. I got way too excited for that. I got way too excited. To hard transition us back in, because me and Ali can sit there and do that all day. We don't see. Now I gotta
okay.
get my whole
And
space together.
go.
This is literally me last night when I was doing Kaylee's part.
Just do it.
You talk. Okay, I'm gonna try to reel it in. Oh, she said, "Let's do it." Okay. Transition. I don't know. I forgot what I was about to say. Oh no. On the transition aspect of it, because you are walking through that very much now.
Yes.
And we've been talking about how God is supposed to be our guide.
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit is supposed to be our guide. And you said something in there, I believe that, on coming out of this transition, it was kind of like your head was everywhere.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that in depth more, about what it was like everywhere, but then also talk about what it was like when you realized, oh wait, why am I everywhere? Yeah. Like this was designed for me. Talk about that for a little bit.
So I was everywhere because I have always had a job. Like I have always work and just not like that it was my plan or anything, but like I told you, like I've been in survival mode. Like I grew up with my dad and he always took care of me, but when I moved to the States and living with my mom, that was my first job, and then she kicked me out, and after that I just had to provide for myself and be for myself and just like kind of taking care of myself for such a long time. So like going to a place where it's like, okay, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I feel that I have fulfilled every single one of my dreams. I travel. I live by myself. I don't have a husband, but he's on the way, and he's on the way. And like just being in this place where it's like I have accomplished every single thing that I wanted or dreamed, or like it's everything. And now I'm going into this season of like the Lord is telling me, I'm going to be your provider. I'm going to do everything for you. Like that, just trust me, right? And taking that step of faith, not knowing the unknown.
Welcome.
Not knowing, it's like, okay, like I can trust you.
Yeah.
But I also need to figure out like my physical things, my apartment, like my meals. Yeah. How I'm going to pay for my car, because I literally, like that's the one thing that I just keep thinking about is like how I'm gonna pay for my car. Yeah, it's $600 a month. You know, what? I know it's a lot. Okay, cool. It's okay. We're not gonna talk about that.
I was finna say but all
it's
right,
a lot.
Keep
going.
But
Jesus, he will provide.
Block on that one.
And it's like, okay, like how I'm gonna pay for these things that when I was so comfortably living, how I'm gonna do it when I'm not comfortable.
Let them do that to you.
Yeah, don't do it. I can fight now.
You heard it here first.
Like, how I'm gonna pay for these things then when I was comfortable, like with my like paycheck to paycheck, and like I didn't need to worry about all of these things, and just going into a season where I'm like, I don't feel that I need to look for a job right now because I'm like, I know what the Lord is asking from me, and I need to build like this thing, and like how I'm gonna do these things and da 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 da. So I think like that's what was consuming my head of like, okay, like I know that you're providing, and I have asked you for so many things, and I haven't seen them.
Yeah.
So how
Keep going.
is gonna happen? When it's gonna happen? When I realized that I'm taken care of, was actually this 2 weeks ago, when I was back home, and I was like, I couldn't have planned this better.
Yes, there
Like,
we go. Yeah.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
Like when I left TC was the retreat, and then it was a week with my family for Thanksgiving, and then my trip to Costa Rica, like for healing and releasing like all these things that I was going through. Then just going back home and spending time with my family. Like I have never had this time with my family where I can just be with them, like without going back to deadlines, going back to like just having something to go back for, but just being there as much as I can and want, and not having like a pressure of like rushing or anything. And then just going back to my brother's engagement. I don't know if he, oh my gosh, I don't know if I was able to say that. He got engaged.
We'll bleep it out. We'll bleep it out. We'll bleep it out if we're not supposed to say that.
He said he didn't want me to post on Instagram, but they want to say it. So I don't know when it is going to be posted, but I'm pretty sure that they'll be posted. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
if not, we'll bleep it out. If not, we'll bleep it out.
And then he got his engagement, and I don't need to worry about PTO or like just going back to a regular life. And then it's like I couldn't plan this timeline better. Yeah. And then when I came back like Monday, I'm like concerned about my apartment, like what I'm gonna do like in the next 2 weeks. Like I need to get out of my apartment. Do I need to rent like renew my contract or no? I don't want to be stuck in a lease. If God called me somewhere else, but also like I don't want to be in a lease if I can't pay for a lease. Right. So I called the office. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, let me pull out my resignation note or whatever I needed to sign. And I talked to them, but the day that I was supposed to meet with them, my best friend, she's like, you know what? I just moved into this house and I have this extra room. Do you want to live with me? Wow. And it's like, man, like, what am I worried about these things? Yeah. When like everything just aligning at the time that I need it. Yeah, yeah. And that's what I was telling you today is like, I'm just like enjoying my apartment for the next 2 weeks that I have in my apartment before I start, like before I move my life away again. Yeah. It's just like, why am I worrying when I couldn't have, like, in the Bible says it like, I know the plans that I have for you, not to harm you, but to give you hope in a future. Yeah. Like, why do I worry?
The first part of that is, say the first part again.
I know the plans that I have for you. Yo sé los planes que tengo para ti.
For all our Latinas out there.
For all the Latinas.
I like that. The fact that we just did that. Write that down. We need to get maybe something like that. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But the first part of that is for I know the plans that I have for you. Mm-hmm. The real thing that I want to say, the very cutthroat, we don't really believe the Bible like we say we do. We read it, but we don't believe it.
Correct.
Because we can read something like that and then be like,
literally, you know the plans.
As soon as we close the book of the Bible, it's just like, all right, how am I going to pay rent? How am I going to do that? And God's looking like,
you just read it, bro.
But God's looking like, bruh,
like,
what are you
talking
about?
They're just like, oh, okay, cool.
But that shows there was, I don't know what, I was looking for a scripture, but is there a scripture, and I'm asking kind of my Bible heads in the back, really, Aaron, and James. You right. And James. There's a scripture, I don't know what, I need to find it.
What is it? Test me.
Scripture is
Test my Bible knowledge.
Is it from faith to faith? I don't know what.
And glory to glory.
Find that, but yes, no. Yeah. So in my head, when I heard you say that, the faith to faith things mean if my faith got got you to TC, if your faith got you to TC, that same faith can't get you to the next because we're supposed to go from faith to faith.
Yeah.
So that means that he's going to have to put you into a season where, yes, that faith could work, but you're going to have to establish a whole new sense of faith.
Are you thinking about Romans 1:17 that says,
If it doesn't say faith to faith, please don't read it and make me look bad.
"For in the righteousness of God it is revealed from faith to faith, as it is written, the righteous shall live by faith."
I believe so. I don't think it was that translation.
It's talking about going from one journey to the next.
Yes, that is the one I'm talking about, because it's like, well, I think we hear that and it's just like, oh yeah, God's just gonna take us from faith to faith.
Yeah.
It's like, no, he's actually gonna grow your faith from faith to all. It's almost like it was capital or like lowercase, and he's like capital. Now it's like, I'm gonna teach you faith. And I think that is very real, because it's like, if I just have to use the same faith, the same level of faith for my whole life, that's not going from faith to faith.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, and this is just me. So I'm not a theologian. I ain't go to seminary. It's just me. In my head, it feels like when I see faith to faith, it says, hey, I'm actually going to give you something else to grow your faith. From like, I literally feel like I see like lowercase faith and then capital faith. And then whenever the next season comes, that turns into lowercase faith, and then we're going to capital faith. Because that is the type of, if you look at it and evaluate it, that's really what it is.
Yeah.
It really is. I went from a place of, all right, God, like, I'm going to step out on faith that you told me to go to TC. But now you're telling me to
Out of
leave
TC?
TC?
What am I
That
supposed
takes a
to-
completely
Yeah.
different faith than to believe to God just to be there.
Yeah.
Because that was comfortable. That was like
Right.
your normal for a while. Like we said at the beginning. And so that was the part I wanted to stay on right there, is because it's not going to look like what the faith in the last season looked like. It's going to look completely different. She's talking about her time. I have had no job. We are in the same exact boat. It took faith for me to even go to TC. And my parents work there. It took faith. It took a completely different level of faith to leave TC. But then it also took, and I know it did for you because we just sat here talking about it, it takes a completely different level to now live like you don't have real responsibilities in life, because people around you will say, hey, you probably should get a job, blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
But it's not about what they think.
Yeah.
It's about what you, because they're not in the conversations with you and God in the
Correct.
prayer closet.
And it's like, it's the journey that you're
Yes.
taking with God too. It's like,
Yes.
and sometimes like, and I think like, it's like sometimes it's gonna look crazy what you're doing. Like the measure of faith that God has given you is gonna look so different. Like your measure of faith is gonna look completely different than my measure of faith.
Right.
And the Lord has given you a measure of faith to every single person in a different way.
Yeah.
But like when you were talking from faith to faith, it's like it's like a different level for the different
Yes,
season.
that's completely
And just like
correct.
video games, right? Like
Yes.
like you go from level 1 to level 2, level
Yes.
3, and it gets harder and harder and harder, and that's
yes.
faith too. Like
Right.
it's gonna be a path and a journey that is gonna
Yes.
take you from one step to the other, and like
Yes.
just taking little steps. Like
Right.
when you go up like a step,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, yeah.
stairs,
Uh-huh.
you're not just staying the same level and hoping to get to this level. You need to
Right.
go one step at a time and
Yes.
go up.
Yes.
And
That's so good.
like for me, like you leaving TC for me was like I was not a Christian when I moved to the States.
Yeah, yeah.
But just that took a lot of faith of like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
going to live with my mom.
Right.
It was a whole other thing, like just like
That's
stepping out.
crazy.
And then also it was like,
Wow.
okay, faith to move to Tulsa when I don't know nobody. My dad, he was like, go to Tulsa before you move to Tulsa and make sure that no one's gonna kidnap you. I'm like, got it though. Got it.
Hey, actually go there just to make sure it's not crime
Just in
capital.
case. Yeah, correct.
yeah.
So it just took a different level of faith too. Like I'm going to this internship, non-paid internship, to
Right.
live 6 months, and like,
Right.
okay,
Right.
I'm an adult,
Yeah.
and it looks completely different too.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now this journey,
Yeah.
healing journey, it took faith too.
It's a
Like it just takes faith to get better too.
yes, you said it takes levels of faith. It's the real thing is you can't use level 1 faith for a level 10 problem.
Absolutely.
And I think that is one of the realest things ever. Is we would be naive to keep trying to use the same faith that got us, maybe even to start the Christian thing that was going to keep us in the Christian thing. So in that, I think when you realize that every season that you come through is to build you up, is to build your faith, to build everything. It'll make that much season. You will be much more intentional with that season.
But it also creates intimacy with God. But because you cannot have this faith if you don't have a relationship with God.
Yes.
If you don't have like this intimacy with Him.
Yeah.
If you don't know His voice.
Yes.
If you don't know what He's leading you, you
Yes.
cannot have that faith.
Yes.
Because nothing is holding you.
Yeah.
You can't hold anything like if you don't know God, if you don't know the instructions, if you're not developing and growing that relationship with God,
Right.
how are you gonna know what is your next step to take to go to the top?
Right.
You don't know.
Right.
So that is like that intimacy that you just
That
need
is
to
so
create
good.
and
Yeah,
have that
yeah.
faith. Like when I was in Colombia, like literally every single day I was like, okay, Lord, I'm here. I don't know what I'm doing, but like just praying and just spending time with Him.
Yeah.
And just like all the reconciliation and like redemption and just like conversation that happened is like, man, I didn't know that you had so much more for me in this trip.
Yeah.
But just because I spent time with you, did you give me the eyes to see and
Yeah.
the faith to believe for a better something? And it's just creating and just growing that relationship
Yeah.
with God.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't have to do much
Yeah.
and just spending time with Him.
Yeah.
Just being vulnerable with Him, telling how you feel, what you're thinking, what are your aspirations, like what are you afraid of, like what are you hoping for, like what, like literally just you, like He just wants to know how are you, what is going on, like, and He will drop His wisdom and His knowledge and His everything in what you have for Him. He put the desires in your heart for a reason.
Yes.
He already knows what is in there.
Yes.
And He just wants to commute with you and be with you and just be in this relationship with you and just
That's so
like be
good.
together.
That's so good.
And that's how you build your faith too.
Yeah.
Like the more time that you spend you're building like you're building that relationship. The more that you build that relationship, you trust more
Right.
that person.
Right.
So the more that you spend time together, you're just gonna start
Yes.
building that relationship.
Yes.
And you get more acquainted with His voice. You just get more acquainted with the promptings of His heart. Today I
Yeah.
was literally praying. I was like, Lord, like I feel that in this season you haven't speak to me, but because He's not speaking to me in the way that He used to speak to me, that doesn't mean that He's not speaking right now.
not.
And then He shift my perspective, and He was like, like you're feeling like I'm feeling you more this season. Like I'm feeling you. Like it's not how you're you're crazy. You're not talking to me how you were talking to me in the last season, but I've been feeling you near me every single time, every single season. Like right now, like every single day, I just keep feeling your peace and your presence. So I feel you near.
Wow.
And that's how you build your faith.
That is, I need you to know right now, that is exactly how you build your faith. Go ahead.
I love that you said that, Ale, because even the Bible verse that we looked at is like a true example of what it looks like to like draw near to God. Because even in that verse where it's talking about going from faith to faith, it talks about the righteousness of God that's revealed through our faith, which righteousness just means like right standing in relationship with God. So like we are only able to have a relationship with God to inherit His righteousness. We can never do that on our own because He is faithful.
Yep.
And so then our only response to His faithfulness in allowing us to be in right standing with Him is like our faith.
Yep.
So it's like from God's faithfulness we respond by being faithful,
Yep.
becoming more like Christ, becoming more like Him. But that's only possible to do like through intimacy and relationship with Him, because we know we're saved through faith,
Yeah.
by faith and faith alone.
Yeah.
So it is just like this continuous circle of like our faithfulness and our faith being a response to God's faithfulness to go first to show us what that looks like.
Right.
And like it's also like as humans we're always like looking for something tangible, and we just get in the I don't see it, like I can't, like you're not here with me, like
Right.
I can't feel you. But I remember one time I was crying in my apartment, and I was like, Lord, I just wish that I was with somebody, and I remember having this picture of him just literally touching my knee and saying, "I'm here."
Yeah.
So it's like he's there,
Yeah.
like that we don't see it. Like, what is that, Bert? Like, you don't have to see it to believe it. I don't think that's a verse. Maybe, anyways, see it before you see it. But that was maybe, I don't know, but it's like you don't need to see it in order to believe that he is there.
Yeah.
Like, blessed are those that believe without seeing. That's what it is. Blessed are those who believe without seeing.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can believe that you are here with me,
Yeah.
and that you're blessing me, and
Yeah.
you're here right next to me,
Yeah.
even when I don't see that you're here with me.
Right. Because it wouldn't be faith if we could see it.
Correct.
And I think we discount that because we say, "Oh God," we do get troubled with the fact that we can't see anything, but it wouldn't take faith. Like, it wouldn't, if I saw the wealth that was coming into my life, it wouldn't take faith for me to believe for it, because I could see, oh, okay, like, I see how this is gonna happen.
And you'll be dependent on you all the time. So what's the point? What's the point? He wants us to depend on him every single day.
That is so good.
If you have the plan planned out,
Yeah.
you're depending on you.
Right.
Like, you don't need to ask for direction. You don't need to ask for any insight. You don't need to ask for all the things that are in heaven for us.
Yeah.
You're just like, okay, do it.
Oh.
I'm reading this book, and it's beautiful and it's amazing. And it's Dreaming with God. And it's literally saying, like, all the things that are not created here and there are available to us. Then we just we just get in touch with God.
Yeah.
Like, he just wants to allow us to dream and bring those dreams that he has and bring them to earth.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. And you just need to tap into his all wisdom and all knowledge, because he has the solution and answers for everything.
You need to know him. As I was literally about to just stop and kind of let you just log off, because you killed that. But as I was sitting here, I was thinking, you have to know him.
Absolutely.
You have to study him, not just know him. Because I even felt that you have to study him.
You need to establish a relationship, just the same way that we have a relationship, just the same way that you have a relationship.
Yes.
You just sit down with somebody and get to know them.
Right, because if I'm not familiar with his work, I will never know if he's working for me.
Yeah.
If I'm not familiar with what he did in the Bible, if I'm not familiar how he acted, how he roamed, how he did all these different things, I would never know that he actually really is tangible, and he actually really is sitting on this couch where Moana's actually sitting right now.
Oh, that's one.
Yeah. Hey, don't play. Hey.
I think it was Pocahontas.
That feels, I'm not gonna say it, but that felt crazy. I know you're Moana.
We know you're one.
She said Pocahontas, and in my head I had
Pocahontas.
What?
Pocahontas.
Pocahontas.
There you go.
Pocahontas. Yes, you have to be familiar with him. Like, if he truly is our coach, you have to get familiar with, like, a basketball reference. If he truly is our coach, you have to get familiar with his plays, with his tendencies, with his schemes. Like, you have to be, because if I just went and was just like, yeah, I'm gonna play for your team, but then he's trying to do stuff, but I'm just kind of like,
yeah.
Is that my coach, or is that?
Can I give you the best analogy that he gave me?
Go ahead.
He's my security guard. He's my what your dad is to Pastor Mike.
Yeah.
How you call that? Like
Security
guard?
What would you call it? The old saints called it an armor bearer. But
in Spanish would be like escolta, like just like literally like it's like he's
go with security.
Yeah.
We'll
He's like
security.
First of all, he's opening way for you.
Yes.
He's giving you insight.
Yes.
He's keeping you safe.
Yeah.
He is like literally aware of every single thing that it comes your way.
Yeah.
He will pull you or he will push you to everything that you need to.
Yes.
Like he will keep you safe. If you need to talk to him, you just need to be like, okay.
Yes.
And you need like that's my security guard.
Yeah. I was about to try to say another word, but I love security guard because security not only provides a way, he protects the way. I love that. I honestly that is such a beautiful picture of God. He not only will provide the way, he will protect your way. And as we're kind of close right there, because I honestly think that's just a beautiful way to end it is, if you don't know, one, if you want to try this God thing out, know that not only will he provide your way, but he will protect your way. And he will provide in a way that you've never seen provision. And then he will protect in a way that you've never seen protection. That doesn't mean it's going to go the way you want it to go. I want to make that very clear. That does not mean he's going to provide the way you want him to provide.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he's going to protect you the way you want to be protected. That doesn't, scrap every thought of what you think it'll look like. Because that's not what it's not going to go. He's going to rip all that up.
Yeah.
But what he will do is make sure you are provided for and you are protected. That will, even if it doesn't feel like it, he is providing and protecting.
And taking care of.
Because that's the sustaining part. Is he's day in, day out. When he wakes you up, that is him providing. When you come home and rest, that is him protecting. When you get to do it over and over again, what'd you say? What'd you just say right there?
Taking care of.
That is him taking care of. That is literally what it looks like to walk with God. And I would be a bad person at the end of this episode. Give him a try. Give him, and it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm going to stop everything today. Just give him a try. Wake up and talk to him tomorrow. You don't have to know what to say. Just say, God, God, I acknowledge that you're there. By day 3, oh, you're going to feel him because you're consistent, just like he is. Yeah. Ale, this episode was one of the most life-breathing episodes that I've had.
Thank you.
And I completely thought it would look different. But
it's the unknown.
It is truly
and the Lord will do
the
it.
unknown. And we pride ourselves on walking not only just in life, but even through an episode. Just allowing God to have his way. I literally had transition things I was going to talk about, but I think we did what was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
We allowed space for God to come. We acknowledged that he was here. He provided a way.
He did. He sure did.
And I just want to say thank you for being humble. Thank you for being transparent. Thank you for being authentic, because I can only imagine what it took to get here. And many people may not know your whole story. Many people may not know everything you've been through, but we say this at the end of every episode this is from the Unknown team, is we love you, we see you, we hear you, and we value you.
Thank you.
And your gift, whatever God is cooking up for you,
listen,
it's going to do more than you could ever dream. But he is going to provide, he is going to protect, and he is going to keep you. Thank you. On behalf of everyone that watches this episode, thank you. You did amazing.
Thank you,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming and rocking with us in the cave. We back in the cave.
Before that,
go ahead.
Thank you.
Wow. Hold on. Stop it.
Thank you.
Stop it.
Thank you because you were faithful to your season. And because you were faithful in your season, in the unknown, that gave me peace.
Wow.
To walk in my season.
Wow.
So thank you so much.
Yeah.
For resting when you needed to rest.
Yeah. Oh,
so you were able
to
birth something.
Wow.
Like this.
Yeah. Of course.
And just bring in light.
Yeah.
Into this atmosphere.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah.
For being awesome.
Wow. Thank you so much.
And just for giving me the space just to speak.
Of course.
Just like my Latina, we just love to talk.
Anytime you want to come back on.
Okay, cool.
Anytime you want to come back on, you can come back on. Y'all know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, share with everybody you know. We love you. We see you. We hear you. We value you. And we'll see you next time.
I'm just trying to live it heavenly in the unknown. God is with me everywhere. This place is where I call home. This place where I call home. This place where I call home.